So, what if a really ancient, kind of cryptic prophecy wasn't about some distant, unknown future, but was actually a detailed play by play of one of history's most brutal events? In this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty terrifying passage from the book of Revelation. It talks about a 5-month torment so awful, people would literally beg for death, but couldn't find it. Right off the bat, the language here is incredibly specific. We're not talking about a quick end. No, it says 5 months of torment. And then it compares this suffering to the sting of a scorpion. You know, that persistent, agonizing pain that doesn't give you the mercy of a quick death. It's a really chilling image to think about. And that leads us to the central puzzle of this prophecy. The very next verse says that in those days, people shall seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. I mean, what kind of horrific situation could possibly describe that? Well, to solve this puzzle, our source material suggests we look not to the supernatural, but to a very specific, harrowing moment in history. A moment where every single detail of this prophecy seems to just click into place with startling precision. 5 months. This isn't just some symbolic number. It's a precise duration. It's our historical anchor, our first major clue pointing to one single devastating event. And here it is. In 70 AD, the Roman general Titus laid siege to Jerusalem. Now, the final, most brutal phase of that siege, from the moment they assaulted the last standing wall to the city's ultimate fall, lasted exactly 5 months. The timing is, well, it's a perfect match. So, what was actually happening inside Jerusalem during those 5 months? I mean, yeah, the city was being battered by the full might of the Roman army, but the real horror wasn't just coming from the outside. It was a crisis on top of a crisis. Before the Romans even breached the final defenses, infighting between different zealot factions led them to burn their own city's food supplies. So while these massive Roman catapults were hammering the walls day and night, the people inside were already starting to starve. A slow, inescapable agony had already begun. And this brings us right back to that strange phrase, the torment of a scorpion. All of a sudden, it makes perfect, chilling sense. Starvation isn't a quick death. It's a prolonged, wasting torment that just eats away at you day after day. It was the perfect metaphor for the slow-motion horror that was unfolding inside Jerusalem's walls. But what about the most disturbing part of the prophecy? That idea of desperately wanting to die but being unable to find that release. I mean, how could that possibly be real? We actually have an answer, and we have it because we have an eyewitness, the historian Flavius Josephus. His account, The Wars of the Jews, gives us a grim, first-hand report of what happened to anyone who tried to escape the starvation. Just listen to this. Josephus writes that anyone who fled was caught by the Romans. They were whipped, they were tortured, and then they were crucified right outside the city walls, in full view of everyone still trapped inside. The Romans did this as a deterrent, a brutal form of psychological warfare. And so many were crucified that Josephus chillingly reports they ran out of room for the crosses, and then they ran out of crosses for the bodies. So this was the choice. This was the horrific reality. You could stay inside and suffer the slow, grinding torment of famine, or you could try to escape and face the prolonged public torture of crucifixion. In either case, death was not going to be a swift escape. It was a guaranteed, drawn-out agony. In those days, people truly did seek death, but they only found more torment. And so we're left with this. You've got the 5-month timeline, the scorpion-like torment of starvation, and the absolute horror of a death that offered no escape. The parallels they're startlingly precise. And it leaves you wondering, is this all just a massive coincidence? Or is history sometimes the haunting echo of prophecy?